Lin Tianhao, is your waist worth staying in our Qinjianmen? Stop it, don't lose your eyes again. At the entrance of the mountain gate of Qinjianmen, several disciples wearing gray robes surrounded each other, and the sound of mockery was as harsh as a knife. Standing in the middle, Lin Tianhao lowered his head, clenched his fists, and his nails were almost pinching into his flesh. He was still wearing bruises that had just been beaten, and a bloody spike on the corner of his mouth, which was so bad that he was so tired. Brothers, I just practiced a little slower. I will definitely be able to. Lin Tianhao gritted his teeth, his voice so low that he could hardly hear it. Time? Haha, you can't do anything to give you 10 years. Qinjianmen doesn't have to take care of waste, and the Palm Door has already ordered you to be expelled from the door. Wang Changfeng, the leader's disciple, sneered, kicked Lin Tianhao in the chest, and kicked him to the ground. From today on, you, Lin Tianhao, and our Qinjianmen, have no relationship. Go down the mountain. Wang Changfeng looked at him from a high place, his eyes full of contempt. Several disciples next to him followed and laughed in the mountains. Lin Tianhao got up, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and stared at Wang Changfeng with his eyes. He didn't say anything, but silently lifted up the broken package on the ground and walked down the mountain. The ridicule behind him became more and more distant, but every word was like a salve, piercing into his heart. Waste, waste. These two words kept reverberating in his brain. Lin Tianhao gritted his teeth and a fire ignited in his heart. One day, I will let you guys with low eyes kneel in front of me and beg for a favor. The road down the mountain was difficult to walk, and Lin Tianhao dragged his tired body and walked around without destination. Although Qinjianmen is just a small party, it is at least the place where he grew up. Now that he is being brought out, he has no place to fall. The world is so big, how can I not have a place for me? He murmured, and looked up and saw that the sky had darkened. The sound of the mountains was swaying, and the chill was dripping in his bones. As he was walking, he suddenly stepped on the air under his feet. Lin Tianhao didn't stand firm and rolled down the hillside. When he finally stopped, his body was covered in mud, and his arms and legs were shaved with blood from the stones. Damn, I really have a back. Lin Tianhao grinned in pain. He wanted to get up, but he realized that he had fallen into a secret cave entrance. The entrance of the cave was strictly engraved by grass and vines, and it was impossible to see outside. Where's this place? Lin Tianhao came up curiously and crawled in with the pain. He saw that the cave was pitch black and could barely see some broken cloth and gravel scattered on the ground. He clicked a fire note, and with the faint light, he found some strange symbols engraved on the wall of the cave, and a broken sheepskin paper was pressed under the stone. Lin Tianhao felt a stir in his heart, and he pulled out the sheepskin paper, shaking off the dust on it, and after a closer look, there was a map on it. Although it was broken, it could be seen that it pointed to a deep mountain and dense forest. There are also a few lines of words written in small words on the map. The martial arts world is treasured, hidden here, and those who get it can have a whole world. The treasure of the martial arts world? Lin Tianhao's eyes lit up, and his heartbeat was a little faster. Although he was expelled from the sect, he had been studying for several years and had some hearing about the world. It is said that there are many lost and ultimate martial arts hidden in the world. How many people have been beaten to death for this? This map may be the lead to those hidden things. Before he could think about it, he stepped on another broken little book under his feet. When I picked it up, I saw several words bound acupoint picture summons written on the cover. When I turned it on, I saw that there were densely covered human body lines, and various acupoints in the path of internal force running. What kind of treasure is this? Although Lin Tianhao's martial arts skills are not good, he also knows how important the acupoints are to those who practice martial arts. Qinjianmen's inner skills are very rough and have no such detailed information. The more he looked, the more excited he became, and a big thought suddenly appeared in his brain. Since I am not good at being talented, I always practice others' skills, so why don't you create one by yourself? A fire broke out in Lin Tianhao's heart. Lin Tianhao, from today on, I have to walk a path that others have never walked. He just said it, and he sat down with his legs, followed the circumference route on the picture, and began to try to guide the faint internal force in his body. He closed his eyes, focused his whole heart, and tried to lead his internal force from his dantian to his limbs and bones. The first time he failed, but the second time he still failed. His blood was pouring out, making him sweat heavily. "No, I can't give up." Lin Tianhao gritted his teeth and executed the third slam, and finally felt a warm current flowing through the veins. Although it was weak, it was indeed successful. "It's done." He suddenly opened his eyes, so excited that he almost jumped up. Although this warm current is not strong, it is more pure than his internal strength that he has practiced in Qinjianmen for 3 years. Ha ha ha, it turns out that I'm not a waste, I just haven't found the right way. Lin Tianhao clenched his fists and his confidence increased greatly. "I created this technique myself, and it's called." Tianhao is so arrogant. He's so arrogant when he hears it. After practicing for a few hours, Lin Tianhao felt relieved all over his body, and even the wound on his body did not hurt so much. He packed up the map and plots, decided to find a place to put his feet first, and then slowly study these treasures. After leaving the cave, it was already bright. Lin Tianhao had just walked for a few steps before hearing a noise coming from the front. He quietly approached and saw that it was several disciples from Qinjianmen, who were calling him a little treasure. "Hand, dare to sell fake medicine to us? I don't want to live anymore, right?" Wang Chanfeng kicked his son over, and several disciples next to him followed him, making the old man tremble. Lin Tianhao raised his eyebrows and felt unhappy. This Wang Chanfeng usually bullies others by relying on his own, but he didn't expect that he would still have such a virtue when he went down the mountain. He didn't want to be meticulous, but he just glanced at the grassland behind Chanfeng, and a familiar figure was quietly observing. "Roland?" Lin Tianhao's eyes lit up. The figure was his childhood sweetheart Marilyn. The two grew up together. Although Lin Tianhao never saw her again after being expelled from the sect, he always kept thinking about it. Roland seemed to have noticed him, and winked at him, signaling him not to make a sound. Lin Tianhao's heart-to-heart God Club quietly wandered aside, intending to take a look at the situation first. At this time, Wang Chanfeng was still showing off his might and spit on his head. "If you don't hand over the real goods, I will wipe you out today." Lin Tianhao could no longer bear it, so he walked out and spoke coldly. "Zhang, what's the ability to bully an old man?" "I have the ability to come here." Wang Chanfeng was stunned. When he turned around, he saw that it was Lin Tianhao. He laughed. Isn't this a waste that was expelled from the sect?" "Why? He still wants to fight after he went down the mountain." Several disciples next to him also cheered. "Battle, kneel down and knock your head to brother Chanfeng, saying that you may even be able to save your life." Lin Tianhao sneered, and a chill in his eyes. "Who kneels down? It's not certain." "Looking for death?" Wang Chanfeng was furious and slapped over with his palm. He shouted at him. He turned out to be a disciple of Qinjianmen. The force of this palm is quite strong. But Lin Tianhao did not avoid it, and Tianhao's true air moved in an instant, and he punched him in front of him. Bang! With a slight roar, Wang Chanfeng's palm collided with Lin Tianhao's fist. He was actually shocked 3 steps away, and his palm suddenly became numb. How is that possible? Chang Wang's face was shocked, and the disciples beside him were also stunned. When did Lin Tianhao become so harmful to the wasteland? With this ability, how dare you shout? Lin Tianhao snorted coldly, stepped on his feet suddenly, his figure as fast as a wind. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of Wang Chanfeng and punched him out again. This punch contained Tianhao's true energy, and its strength was extremely powerful. Wang Chanfeng could not react at all. He was directly smashed and flew out, fell to the ground, and spit out a mouthful of blood. Sister brother. The other disciples were shocked and rushed forward, but Lin Tianhao just let out a cold look, so they were so scared that they dared not move. Change! Lin Tianhao shouted softly, with unquestionable power in his voice. Several disciples glanced at each other, helped Wang Changfeng up and ran away in shame. The old man burst into tears and hurriedly said, I thank the young man for helping me, I have no idea. No thanks, I'm going to take action. Lin Tianhao snatched his hand, turned his head to look at the grass line, and said lightly, Roran, don't hide it, come out. Then Roland came out with a smile on his face, Tianhao, I didn't expect that you would be so bad after a few days. She was wearing a light blue dress and a long hair shawl, and her smile was as gentle as spring. Lin Tianhao looked at her, his heart warmed up and he sniffed, there was a little adventure, I'm talking about it. The two found a remote place to sit down, and Lin Tianhao roughly explained the discovery that he was expelled from the sect in the cave. After hearing this, Jirolin's eyes were shiny, that map may really bring us some treasures. Tianhao, let me go with you. I am still familiar with the legends and terrain of the world, and I will definitely help you. Lin Tianhao was a little hesitant, Roland, this matter is too dangerous. There must be many people in the world who want to snatch this map. I'm afraid I'll get tired of you. What are you afraid of? Roland curled his lips, his eyes calmed down, we have grown up together, how can I watch you take risks alone? Besides, I am not weak. Who dares to bully me, I stab him with one blow. Lin Tianhao looked at the penis in her hand and couldn't help laughing, okay, with you, I'll feel more at ease. The two decided to find a place where the foot fell first, and then slowly study the traces on the map. Lin Tianhao looked at the mountainside far away, and a blazing flames ignited in his heart. At this time, in a blood-colored hall 100 miles away, an old man in a black robe was sitting in his eyes, and his body was filled with a cold murderous atmosphere. The breath of the martial arts map appears again. No matter who dares to touch this treasure, I will definitely break him into pieces. The old man suddenly slided his eyes, and the blood in his eyes flashed, and the terrifying atmosphere instantly rolled into the entire hall. Lin Tianhao and Li Roland walked shoulder to shoulder on the mountain path, the sun shining through the leaves on the two of them, and the air was filled with the fragrance of soil. There was a kind of indescribable staircase in his heart. Although he was expelled from the Qingyun Gate and left him with nothing, now with Roland, the map in his hand and the self-created Tianhao's true aura, he felt that the future was full of hope. Tianhao, what treasures do you think are hidden in this map? Li Roland looked down at the sheepskin paper in his hand, with a slight brow. This road seems to point to the Black Cloud Mountain north, which is a famously dangerous place. I heard that many people from the door went in but never came out again. No matter where it is, I will go wherever it is hidden. Lin Tianhao grinned and looked confident, again, Tianhao, who has me, is really good to protect me. Whoever dares to beat me, I will beat me. Zerlin rolled his eyes and couldn't help laughing, just blow it. Just practice internal strength so crazy. Whenever you meet a real master in the martial arts world, it depends on what you do. You will know how bad I am. Lin Tianhao patted his chest, and the voice fell. Suddenly, a rapid sound of horse hoofs came from the front, and the dust was flying. Several warriors wearing a uniform blue robe came over and rushed over. Stop! The two in front are named. The head was a big cheek with a big cheek, holding a large ring knife, and the sound was as thick as a thunderbolt. Lin Tianhao looked at his eyebrows, quietly guarded Zerlin behind him, and said in a low voice, Roland, if you see if the situation is not right, I will run away first, I will stop. What are you running? I'm not a burden. Zerlin snorted lightly, and his hand was pressed on the sculpture on his waist. He saw the two of them not paying attention to him, his face darkened, he turned over and pointed at Lin Tianhao directly, boy, your ears are heard. I am Zhang Zishan from the Iron Knife Gate. I'm asking you. If you don't say anything, believe it or not, I will slash you with one knife. Iron Knife Gate? Lin Tianhao narrowed his eyes and quickly recalled it in his brain. The Iron Knife is a medium-sized sect in this area, and its strength is much stronger than that of Qingyun Gate. The disciples under the door are all seen as long as swordsmanship, fierce and domineering, and have a bad reputation. It's good to say, we're just passing by. We haven't provoked you, right? Lin Tianhao spoke coldly. Although he was not afraid of trouble, he didn't want to be a fool. Passing? Humph, silly. Recently, there are news about Baozong near Black Cloud Mountain. Anyone who goes there must be checked. Zhang Zishan sneered, and his eyes swept over the package in Lin Tianhao's hand with greedily. Put the things over and let me check them. If there is no problem, let you go. Check? Lin Tianhao was happy, with a few mocking voices in his voice. Do you check or do you want a slap? Sorry, I am the one who disturbs others tricks me the most, so you should save money. Looking for death? Zhang Zishan was furious and slashed over with his knife. The sword light was like a rainbow, with the sound of breaking the air, and it was full of force. It was obviously the famous sword technique of the knife gate breaking the mountain. Lin Tianhao's eyes turned cold, and he stepped down his feet suddenly, his figure as fast as a storm. He instantly avoided the light of the knife. At the same time, Tianhao's body was really moving, and his right fist hit Zhang Zishan's chest. Bang! With a slight whisper, Zhang Zishan was smashed and flew directly to the ground, covering his chest and spitting out a mouthful of blood, his face full of disbelief. What are you, boy? What's the point? Remember, my name is Lin Tianhao, I'm not convinced. Lin Tianhao sneered, standing straight and impatient. A few disciples from the iron knife door behind saw this, drew their swords and rushed up, and shouted in their mouths, You dare to beat Brother Zhang, you're alive. Just like you? Lin Tianhao hummed disdainfully. Tianhao was really moving with all his might, and his body was like a ghost, crossing his fists and feet, and in the blink of an eye, he all fell down. One of them was lying on the ground and howled, and even the knife couldn't hold it. Go back and tell your door owner that if you want to get rid of something, think about how many pounds you have. Lin Tianhao stepped on Zhang Zishan's wrist with one foot, and the other party was sweating heavily, so he could only point his head. After helping the wolf flee, Zirlin couldn't help but applaud and said with a smile, Tianhao, okay, these few tricks are clean and neat, and no one in the knife door can take you. I'm not bad. Lin Tianhao slapped his head, and although he was proud of himself, he was secretly alert in his heart. Medium-sized doors such as the knife door have begun to pay attention to the news of Black Cloud Mountain. It seems that the secret of this map is no longer a secret, and more people will definitely be looking for trouble next. Sure enough, in the next few days, the two of them walked north, and more challenges were encountered on the road. First, there were a few casual cultivators. When they saw Lin Tianhao, they wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to kill him, but they were beaten with 3 punches and 2 feet to find their teeth. Then, a wave of men called themselves Feng Lei Hall came, which was more powerful than the iron knife gate. The headmaster even had 6 levels of internal strength cultivation, and had tried more than 10 tricks with Lin Tianhao. Boy, who are you? Your internal strength is obviously not deep, so why is your move so weird? The master of the hall covered his slaughtered face and gritted his teeth and asked. Want to know? Download it. Lin Tianhao snorted coldly, kicked him away with 1 foot, turned around, leaving a helping person stunned. After fighting these few scenes, Lin Tianhao's reputation quickly spread, and a young master began to spread the word about a young master, saying that his boxing skills were invincible and his internal strength was different, and even the masters of the medium-sized door sect could not do anything to him. Many people began to guess whether this kid got some lost secrets, and some even directly contacted him with the treasures of Heian Mountain. Tianhao, you are famous now. People will discuss you wherever you go. Zirlin walked around and joked, with a slight hiding in his eyes. However, he is famous and has a lot of trouble. I'm afraid that those big or evil sects will target you. What are you afraid of? Come and I will beat you one by one, come and I will beat you one by one. Lin Tianhao slapped his hand indifferently, but the voice fell, and a cold smile suddenly came from the forest in front of him. What a big voice, boy, do you think you are the leader of the martial arts world? A man in black robe walked out of the forest, full of scars on his face, holding a bloody knife in his hand, emitting a heavy smell of blood. Lin Tianhao was nervous. This person's aura was obviously much stronger than the opponents he had encountered before, and his internal strength was at least 8 levels, or even close to 9 levels. He clenched his fists quietly and said to Ryan in a low voice, "This guy is not simple, you will find a chance to leave first." "Want to leave?" "It's too late." The man in black robe sneered, slapped his hand, and 4 or 5 warriors in black robe appeared behind him, killing the romance. "Who are you? Why do we sway us?" Lin Tianhao asked in a deep voice. Tianhao's true aura had already begun to move. "I am the 3 protection methods under the seat of the blood sword ancestor, the blood shadow knife Qinjiao. You are famous recently. Everyone from the Iron Knife Gate and Fenglei Hall have been trapped in your hands. My ancestor heard it and sent me to see how many pounds you have." Qinjiao licked the blade, his eyes full of bloodthirsty excitement. "Blood sword ancestor?" Lin Tianhao's eyebrows were tightly locked. He had heard this name. The most notorious evil sect boss in the world was full of cruel and ruthless guys. He didn't expect that he would be targeted at him soon. "Stop talking, die." Qinjiao didn't give him the opportunity to think too much. He slapped his sword, and the sword came over like blood, with a shocking speed. Lin Tianhao gritted his teeth, his figure was quick and he could hardly avoid this blow, but the knife still stroked his shoulder, leaving a blood mark, which hurt sharply. He was surprised. The strength of this guy was indeed not comparable to those scattered fish before. "Tianhao, be careful." Azura saw this, he pulled out the sword and wanted to help, but several men in black robe behind Qinjiao immediately stopped her, and the sword light and shadows instantly formed a group. Rulin. Lin Tianhao was anxious and could not get married. Qinjiao's sword technique was fast and fierce, and every move was pointed directly at the key point, forcing him to be exhausted. "Boy, even if you have such a skill, dare to call me? Go and die." Qinjiao's eyes flashed, and the sword light suddenly burst into a blood-colored shadow, slashing Lin Tianhao's head. Not good. Lin Tianhao was so angry that the power of this knife exceeded his limit. He could not dodge it anymore and could only take it head-on. He bit his teeth tightly, and Tianhao was really frantically moving inside, trying to hit this fatal blow. Bang! The sword and fist collided, and Lin Tianhao was shocked and retreated several times. A silk of blood overflowed from the corner of his mouth, and his inner body seemed to be broken, which made him almost unstable. "Ah, it's pretty good. I wasn't killed by me." Qinjiao-chan laughed wildly, holding the knife, and was about to come forward again. Just at the corner of life and death, Lin Tianhao suddenly had a light in his brain, and he remembered a pivotal movement gate on the picture. He couldn't think too much, so he endured the pain, closed his eyes and sat down, and his internal strength was swept with a brand new route, trying to break through the second level of Tianhao's true aura. "I dare to be distracted in front of me." Qinjiao saw a flash of disdain in his eyes, and the sword light rose again, and he grabbed Lin Tianhao's neck. But just as the tip of the knife was about to touch him, Lin Tianhao suddenly opened his eyes burst into flames, his body burst into flames, and a new force burst out from his body. Tianhao is so angry, the second level, broken. What? Qinjiao was surprised and hurriedly pressed the knife frame, but it was too late. Lin Tianhao's fist hit his chest hard, directly hitting him many feet away, and threw him to the ground, vomiting blood. How is this possible? Qinjiao's face was shocked, and he looked at Lin Tianhao's eyes as if he had seen a ghost. "Tell the blood sword ancestor, I will pay attention to him sooner or later if I dare to move me, Lin Tianhao." Lin Tianhao snorted coldly, turned around and rushed towards the side of Roland, and defeated the remaining man in black robe in a few punches, and quickly retreated as she protected her. After the two of them ran out of the old distance, they finally stopped in a secret cave, and looked at each other and relaxed their voices. "Tianhao, a breakthrough?" Li Roland was panting, full of surprise. "Yes, the second level is done." Lin Tianhao grinned. Although he was covered in scars, his heart was extremely happy. This Tianhao is really awesome. If he encounters a cargo like Qinjiao in the future, I can directly crush it. Don't be too proud too early. The blood sword ancestor is not comparable to Qinjiao. There must be a tough battle next. Rulan was shaking his head and took out the map from it and said seriously, when we have time now, let's study this route again. I just discovered that there is a hidden symbol on the map, which should be a forbidden entrance in the depths of Black Cloud Mountain. Lin Tianhao looked over and saw a small blood-colored mark in the corner of the map, and he felt a little touch in his heart. Forbidden land? Maybe the hiding is there. Let's go, don't let others beat you first. Lin Tianhao and Roland took a breath in the cave. Although he just broke through Tianhao's second level of true energy, his confidence increased greatly. Qinjiao's ruthlessness still made his back flutter. The power of the blood sword ancestor is indeed not comparable to those small sects before. He looked down at the map in his hand. The blood-colored mark looked particularly dazzling under the faint firelight, as if calling him to find out. Roland, what do you think there will be in this forbidden area? It won't be a trap again, right? Lin Tianhao rubbed the wound on his shoulder and grinned. Roland looked at her eyebrows and carefully studied the map. Unlike a trap, there are several small marks next to this symbol, like some ancient password. I have seen similar records in the Qingyun Gates book collection. It should be the mark of a lost sect, which is probably related to the treasure. However, the depth of Black Cloud Mountain is not a good place. I heard that there are poisonous miasma, fierce beasts, and many missing people in the martial arts world. We have to be careful. Be careful, but the more dangerous the place, the more valuable the treasure is. Lin Tianhao grinned, with a flash of light in his eyes. Let's go, while the people of the Blood Knife ancestor have not caught up with us, let's look for it. The two of them cleaned up briefly, identified the route on the map, and rushed towards the deep dark Cloud Mountain at night. The mountain roads became increasingly difficult to walk, and there was an indescribable stench in the air. The roar of wild animals from time to time was coming from time to time, and the moonlight was almost invisible by the dense crowns. Lin Tianhao walked in front, holding a thick wooden stick in his hand to explore the way, and looked back at Roland from time to time, making sure she could keep up. Tianhao, listen. After leaving for about 2 o'clock, Li Roland suddenly grabbed him and said in a low voice. A deep sound of flowing water came from a hidden secret, like an underground river surging. With a source of water, it may be the entrance marked on the map. Lin Tianhao was excited, accelerated his pace, and followed the sound to explore. After trampling through a thorn, I saw a mysterious mountain wall. There was a narrow hole under the wall. The groundwater that flowed out was flowing out from the cave, making a gurgling sound. On the stone at the entrance of the cave, there is a blood-colored mark that is exactly the same as on the map. That's it. Lin Tianhao's heart beat faster. He squatted down and looked into the entrance of the cave. It was pitch black inside, and there was a cold wind blowing out, making people feel uncomfortable. This place looks evil. We have to prepare before entering. Roland took out 2 fire notes and some dry rice from the bag, checked the pendant, and then clicked after confirming that there was no loss. Let's go, I'll follow you. Lin Tianhao took a deep breath, lit the fire chuck, and took the lead in Diamond entering the hole. The hole is very wet and there is slippery moss under the feet. If you don't pay attention, you will have to fall and follow the head. The two walked forward carefully, and the fire illuminated the surrounding stone walls, which were engraved with various strange symbols, some of which looked like martial arts moves, and some looked like some sacrificial patterns, with an indescribable silence. This place, isn't it the old nest of a cult, right? Lin Tianhao muttered in a low voice, feeling a little hairy in his heart, but he didn't stop. Tianhao's true atmosphere flowed slowly in his body, allowing him to respond to sudden situations at any time. After about half a minute of leaving, the cave suddenly opened and a huge underground stone chamber appeared in front of it. There is an old stone platform in the middle of the stone chamber. There is a broken ancient book on it, and the cover is covered with dust. You can see the 4 words 9 Nether True Bibles. There were a few radiant weapons scattered beside them, which looked like the objects of some ancient master. Is this the treasure? Lin Tianhao's eyes lit up. He walked over quickly, and reached out to take the ancient book. Wait! Zyralin grabbed him and said with a brow, "This place is so smooth, there is no reason to be any defense. I see that there are marks around this stone platform, like a mark of a machine. Don't be disturbed." Lin Tianhao calmed down at this time. After a closer look, he found that there were some fine cracks on the ground beside the stone platform, as if he could touch some traps. He lifted up a stone head and threw it over. As a result, he just touched the edge of the stone platform. The ground suddenly cracked with a click and countless sharp thorns popped out from the ground. The cold light flashed, which scared him to take a few steps back. "Damn, I almost got hit." Lin Tianhao wiped his cold sweat and looked at Ryulin with gratitude. "I'll remind you, otherwise I'll be a thorn. Stop talking, find out if there is any other way." Ryulin shook his head and looked around. After a while, she pointed to the stone wall at a corner of the stone chamber. "There is a hidden groove on it, which seems to be able to close the machine." Lin Tianhao walked over and tried to press the groove. Sure enough, he heard a bumping sound. The sharp thorns on the ground were retracted, and the cracks around the stone platform also closed. Then he approached carefully, picked up the book 9 Nether True Bibles, and when he opened it, he found that what he recorded was a very domineering inner martial arts. Although it was incomplete, each page was filled with a strong sense of pressure, which made his heart beat faster. "This technique is too powerful." Lin Tianhao glanced a few times and found that the internal force movement in 9 Netherworld True Sect was somewhat similar to his Tianhao's True Atmosphere, but it was even more violent, as if he could directly swallow the opponent's blood, and was domineering. "Tianhao, the road to this thing is unknown. You have to be careful before practicing, don't practice yourself." Zoran reminded from the side. "Don't worry, I'm a good deal." Lin Tianhao pointed his head, put the ancient book in it, searched around, and found that there was still a jade pendant under the stone platform. There was a roaring tiger engraved on the jade pendant, and a warm feeling was scattered, like a treasure that could enhance internal strength. He put it on his neck without any politeness, and at the same time he felt that Tianhao's air was really moving faster. "Ha, this trip has not been in vain." Lin Tianhao grinned and wanted to greet Roland to leave. A rapid stomp sound came from outside the stone room, accompanied by a low sneer. It turns out that someone has taken the lead." A cold voice echoed, and then more than a dozen black-robed men came in. The leader was Qinjiu, the blood shadow sword that was recreated by Lin Tianhao before. There were 2 older men in black robes standing beside him, their eyes as cold as poisonous snakes, and their internal strength was at least 9 levels. "It's you again." Lin Tianhao's face darkened, guarding Roland, and said in a low voice, "Roland, wait for me to hold them back. You find a chance to run away." "Run? Don't even think of leaving today." Qinjiu sneered, and with a slapped hand, the man in the black robe behind him quickly scattered, blocking the exit of the stone chamber. "This time, I brought the 2 old men from the Bloodsword Gate, the treasures in the underground forbidden area, and your lives. You must stay. Just like your waist, is it worthy of challenging me?" Lin Tianhao snorted coldly. Tianhao's body was really crazy and frantically moved. The jade pendant he just got made his internal force flow even smoother, and his atmosphere was more than just before. He stepped forward, his fist was like thunder, and he led the way toward Qinjiu. "Looking for death?" Qinjiu's eyes burst into murderous spirit, and the blood-colored knife swept out, and the knife was as angry as a rainbow, slashing Lin Tianhao's face. The 2 black-robed elders next to them were not idle either. At the same time, they took action, one of whom used his palms and the other used his claws, which caused a fatal move, and cooperated with him. Bang! 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 Lin Tianhao took 3 moves, but although he was not seriously injured, he was shocked and his feet were stormed. The other party's internal strength was too strong, especially the 2 elders. Each blow was like a mountain pressure, which made him extremely difficult to deal with. "Tianhao." Seeing this, Roland gritted his teeth and pulled the sword up. The sword was as bright as a rainbow, helping him to seize the attack of an old man. But her strength was ultimately limited, and after a few attempts, she was forced to retreat and live in danger. Roland, retreat! Lin Tianhao roared. Seeing that Roland was about to be hit by the old claws, he bit his teeth tightly. Tianhao's body was full of energy and rushed over without hesitation. He took a claw with his shoulders, and the blood was instantly poured out. Boy, there is a kind of thing. The old man sneered, and was about to add a hit. Lin Tianhao's eyes flashed with a fierce look, and he suddenly punched out. A strange suction force was scattered in the fist, which directly sucked away part of the other party's internal force. What? The eldest son was surprised and quickly retreated, but Lin Tianhao would not give him any chance. The fists and feet were connected, and in the blink of an eye, the other party was forced to be so cruel. It turned out that he was in a critical moment. He moved his soul to incorporate the devouring door and 9 netherworld true stories into Tianhao's true atmosphere. Although he only imitated a fur, the effect was already shocking. This kid, fight quickly. Chen Jiao saw that his face was blue and called another elder to take action together. The 3 of them attacked Lin Tianhao like a violent rain, and the sword light and claw shadow almost blocked all his retreat. Damn it, fight! Lin Tianhao gritted his teeth and urged Tianhao's true atmosphere to fusion power with 9 netherworld true swords. His body's atmosphere stormed, and his fists smashed out like a cannon. Each shot had a terrifying effect of devouring the opponent's internal strength, and he could not solve the problem with the 3 masters. But the opponent's internal strength was too deep. After a few dozen moves, Lin Tianhao's body was covered with scars and his breath began to become unstable. Just as he was about to run out of his strength, a roar suddenly came from outside the stone room, and the entire underground forbidden area began to shake violently, as if some terrifying existence was awakened. He, who dares to wield my treasure? A low and sandy voice filled the stone chamber, accompanied by a suffocating pressure. A blood-colored figure walked into the entrance of the cave. The man was wearing a blood robe, holding a huge blood-colored sword, his head was covered in white hair, and his eyes were flashing with blood. His breath was so strong that he was far ahead of everyone on the scene. Blood Sword Ancestor? Chen Jiao and the 2 elders saw this, their faces changed drastically, and they hurriedly knelt on their knees and lowered their heads respectfully. Go to see the ancestor. Lin Tianhao's heart sank and felt an unprecedented pressure. This is the Blood Sword Ancestor, the most top evil giant in the world. His internal strength is at least above the innate realm, and he can cause mountains and earth to collapse with just one blow. His current state is not the opponent's opponent. A bunch of wastelands, even a hairy boy can't handle it. The Blood Knife Ancestor snorted coldly, his eyes swept towards Lin Tianhao like a knife, and a sluggish smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Boy, are you Lin Tianhao? You dare to snatch my husband's treacherous treasure and hurt my subordinates. You're so stupid. Tang Zong is mine, who will die? Lin Tianhao said with a stern face. Although he knew that he was not a match, he could never lose his temper. He clenched his fists quietly, and his brain moved quickly, looking for a chance to take off his body. Looking for death. The Blood Sword Ancestor flashed his mind, and the blood-colored longsword slapped slightly, and a terrifying sword air exploded in an instant. The air in the stone chamber was torn apart. Before the sword air arrived, Lin Tianhao felt his skin sting as if it was scraped by a knife. Tianhao, be careful. Roland was shocked and wanted to come and help, but it was not enough. Fight! Lin Tianhao gritted his teeth and pushed the fusion of Tianhao's true aura and 9 nether true swords to the extreme. He smashed his fists hard and tried to resist the shot. But the knife was so strong that he was shocked after only a moment of persistence, hitting hard on the stone wall, spitting out a large mouthful of blood, and the inner wall seemed to be about to explode. Ha, even with such ability, dare to challenge me? The Blood Knife Patriarch laughed wildly, and walked over with his sword, his eyes filled with the cat and mouse. Lin Tianhao fell to the ground, his mind was a little blurred, but a group of unyielding anger arose in his heart. He stared at the Blood Sword Ancestor, and suddenly a light flashed in his brain, thinking of a gap I saw when I just flipped through the 9 nether true swords. Although the mouth is incomplete, it seems that it can burst out several times of power in a short period of time, but the price is very high, and if you are not careful, you may be able to stop. Old guy, don't be too proud. Lin Tianhao gritted his teeth and roared, climbed up with force, and sealed his hands with both hands, and urged his internal force according to that mouth. Tianhao's true atmosphere and the power of 9 netherworlds collided violently in his body, storming out like a volcano erupting. His atmosphere instantly exploded, and even a layer of bloodlight radiated all over his body. Oh? Have a trump card? The blood knife ancestor had a strange look, but he immediately sneered, no matter what kind of thing you have, you will be a mantis arm in front of me. Try it. Lin Tianhao shouted softly, his body thrust out like a ghost, his fist was like thunder, and his breath was moving forward and the blood sword ancestor was rushing forward. This blow contained all his power, and even could obsessed with the other party's internal strength, which made Qinjiao and others stunned. Roll! The fists and swords collided, and a terrifying wave burst out from the stone chamber. Lin Tianhao was shocked and retreated several steps, and blood stormed wildly at the corner of his mouth, but the old ancestor of blood sword actually had a slight blemish on his arm, and a slight crack appeared on the blade. How is that possible? Qinjiao and the 2 elderly people were amazed, and they couldn't believe their eyes. A hairy boy can actually let the blood knife ancestor eat the number? Interesting. The blood sword ancestor was flickering anger in his eyes. He was about to take action again. He suddenly felt a strange feeling in his body, as if his internal force was attracted by something. He looked down and found that the devouring power in Lin Tianhao's fist actually sucked away a piece of his blood. Although it was very small, it was very humiliating to such a powerful person as him. Boy, I underestimate you. The ancestor of blood sword gritted his teeth and cut, and the blood sword suddenly slapped, and the sword's aura exploded several times, and he was ready to crush Lin Tianhao directly. But at this moment, a sharp tear suddenly came from Lin Tianhao's body, and the internal force that had just been integrated began to backfire, making his eyes dark and almost gone. He knew that he wouldn't have been holding it for long. Roland, go quickly. He yelled as he tried his best to the last burst of force, and at the same time punched him to the ground, shaking a smoke, trying to create a mess. Zirlin had a slight eye, bit her teeth tightly, and quickly rushed toward the secret passage in a corner of the stone chamber, disappearing into the darkness. Lin Tianhao reluctantly supported his body, faced the sword light that was getting closer and closer to the blood sword ancestor, and a bitter smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Old guy, come and see who falls down first. He growled, pressing the backlash in his body, and preparing to welcome this last blow. Lin Tianhao bit his teeth tightly, and the tearing inside his body felt like a knife cut. It hurt so much that he sweated coldly, but he still stood straight, his eyes tightly locking the face of the ancestor of the blood knife. The smoke in the stone chamber was spreading, and Lin Roland had already escaped secretly, which made him feel a little relieved. At least, if Lan is safe, even if he fights the last drop of blood, he will not make this old thing better. Boy, you're quite tough. The blood knife ancestor sneered, and the blood-colored long sword lifted up high, and a strong smell of fishy air appeared on the blade, as if the terrifying force that could tear everything was about to explode. I want to see, how many moves can you kill with this life? Come on. Who are you afraid of? Lin Tianhao growled, suppressing the pain of backlash in his body, and clenched his fists tightly. The power of Tianhao's true aura and 9 nether true sects was urged to the extreme. He knew that this blow might be his last chance. If he couldn't hold it, it would be a waste. Roll! The ancestor of the blood knife slashed down with a knife, and the knife was like a torrent of blood. It instantly rolled over the entire stone chamber, and the stone slabs on the ground were torn apart, urging people. Lin Tianhao narrowed his eyes and took a step forward suddenly. His fist was like thunder and he forced himself to meet him. Bang! The fists and swords collided, and a loud shock burst out. Lin Tianhao was shocked and smashed hard on the stone wall. Blood rushed out of the corners of his mouth, and his bones seemed to be falling apart. But in his fist, the devouring force actually exerted another effect, and he sucked away a piece of internal force from the ancestor of the blood knife, which slightly scattered the opponent's sword. How can this kid still be able to help him? The blood sword ancestor was shocked in his eyes, and immediately turned into a heavy anger. I will kill you today. Lin Tianhao got up nervously, gasping for a long time, and grinned. Old guy, don't brag, come again if you have the ability. He was so angry, but his heart knew that he had reached the limit. Just then the backlash made him almost break, and there was no internal force left. But he can't fall down, at least he has to hold on to this guy and give Jolin more time. At this moment, the jade pendant in him suddenly emitted a warm light, as if he was feeling his crisis. A faint and pure force flowed into his veins, causing his almost exhausted internal force to recover. Lin Tianhao was shocked, and the spirit flashed in his brain. He suddenly thought of the tiger pattern carved on the jade pendant. Could it be that this treasure still has the hidden effect? Don't worry, try it. Lin Tianhao gritted his teeth, pressed his hands on the jade pendant, trying to guide the power to integrate into Tianhao's true aura. In an instant, a violent energy exploded in his body, like a roar of a tiger, causing his aura to explode again, and even threatened to overwhelm the blood sword ancestor. What? The blood sword ancestor's face changed drastically. He felt that the power on Lin Tianhao actually had a sign of breaking through the innate realm. He had flashed a jealousy for the first time in his eyes. What kind of treasure is hidden in this kid? Old thing, amazed, right? That's just the beginning. Lin Tianhao shouted softly, his body shaped like a tiger going down the mountain, his fist wind carrying the air that tore everything, and straightened the chest of the blood sword ancestor. This punch not only contained Tianhao's true aura, but also combined the devouring power of 9 Netherworld true sect and the violent blessing of the jade pendant, which directly increased by several times. Roll! The fist hit the sword of the blood knife, and a terrifying wave burst out. The blood knife ancestor was shocked and took 3 steps back. The blood-colored long knife in his hand made a click sound, and the crack expanded a few points. His face was blue and full of eyes. Unbelievable, how could you have such power? Stop talking, die. Lin Tianhao seized the opportunity and took advantage of the weakening of the opponent's aura, and several consecutive punches were released, each hitting the key point. The devouring force in the fist storm sucked the internal force of the blood knife ancestor, making the opponent's movement slower and slower. Hello! The ancestor of blood sword roared angrily, lifted up his internal force, and the blood sword blew out a more terrifying sword, trying to conquer the universe with one stroke. But Lin Tianhao had long expected that he would fight to the death. He flashed his body and avoided the frontal slam of the knife. At the same time, he punched the blood knife ancestor's shoulder, directly knocking the other party to the knees and spitting out a large mouthful of blood. Old ancestor! Qinjiao and the 2 elders saw this and were full of shock. They rushed up to help, but Lin Tianhao snorted coldly and flew them with a few punches, but he didn't even have the energy to get up. You can't interfere. Lin Tianhao swung coldly, turned his head to look at the blood sword ancestor, with a raging war in his eyes. Old guy, do you know that my wits are hurt now? When I first sent someone to chase me, I will calculate it clearly today. The blood knife ancestor covered his shoulders, his breath was chaotic, and he stared at Lin Tianhao with resentment. Boy, I admit that I underestimated you. But do you think I will win this way? I have been living in the world for decades, but I have never been afraid of who. As he said, he bit his tongue hard and a mouthful of blood sprayed on the blood knife. A more intense bloody atmosphere suddenly radiated from the blade. As if it was burning its vitality, his aura burst again, his eyes were full of crazy. Boy, let's do what you want with me. Same as you? Make a dream. Lin Tianhao sneered, the power of the jade pendant flowed wildly in his body. Tianhao's true atmosphere was urged to the extreme. His whole person seemed to turn into a violent tiger, and his fist style smashed towards the blood knife ancestor like a mountain collapse. Ji. The final confrontation between the 2 people caused a wave of air to destroy the sky and earth in the stone chamber. The sword and fist wind intersected, and the stone walls were shaken and cracked. Lin Tianhao held the blood sword ancestor hard and almost collapsed, but he gritted his teeth and finally at the last moment, he punched the other party's defense and smashed the blood sword ancestor in the chest. Puff! The blood knife patriarch spit out a large mouthful of blood, his eyes quickly dimmed, his face fell unwillingly, and the long blood-colored knife in his hand fell to the ground with a clang sound, and the whole person was no longer static. Who? Lin Tianhao gasped. His body was covered in scars, and he could hardly stand firm, but he still held his body and looked down at the body of the blood knife ancestor's body from a high place, and a sharp smile came out from the corner of his mouth. Old thing, I still win. Qin Jiao and the two elders fell down when the blood sword ancestor fell, and they were scared to death. They crawled around and wanted to escape, but Lin Tianhao would not give them any chance. They beat them with a few punches to solve the future problems. Finally. I'm done. Lin Tianhao murmured, and the backlash inside his body came again, making his eyes dark and he almost fell down. He leaned against the stone wall, took out a pill of elixir found from the forbidden area and swallowed it, and finally managed to breathe a burst of force. Tianhao. At this moment, a sudden sound of footsteps came from the secret passage outside the stone room. Lin Ruolin ran back anxiously. Seeing Lin Tianhao standing still, his eyes instantly came out of his eyes. You're fine, it's great. Don't worry, I'm so desperate. Lin Tianhao grinned, and saw that Ruolin was fine, and a big stone in his heart finally landed on the ground. The two of them supported each other, left this bloody underground forbidden area, and returned to the forest of Heiyun Mountain. The sun shone down through the leaves, and the air was so fresh that it made people feel comfortable. Lin Tianhao took a deep breath and felt like he was reborn. The blood knife ancestor, the cancer of the martial arts world, was removed. In addition to being very happy, he also felt more responsible. The world is so chaotic, the evil faction is strong, and the right path is weak. Since he has this ability, he has to do something. Ruolin, next I want to rebuild the order of the rivers and lakes so that those who bully others dare not come back. Lin Tianhao turned his head to look at Ruolin with a calm look. I plan to create a new sect called the Tianhao Alliance. Based on the principle of doing so, whoever joins must abide by the rules and help the weak and the bad. What do you think? Ruolin's eyes lit up and he pointed, okay. Tianhao, I support you. There should be someone like you in the world who has stood up and bring everyone back the truth. After saying that, Lin Tianhao and Ruolin returned to the ground. They quickly summoned a group of people who admired him by using his reputation as the ancestor of the blood sword. The Iron Knife Door and Feng Leitang, the sects that were once enemies with him, heard that the blood knife ancestor was beaten by him, and he took the initiative to vote for his favor, for fear of being liquidated one step later. And those Qin Jianmen disciples who had ridiculed him, including Wang Changfeng, also came to beg for trouble, and even knelt on the ground and kowtowed. President Lin, we didn't see Mount Tai at first. Please don't remember the villain. Give us. Wang Changfeng lowered his head, his voice trembling as if it were squid. Lin Tianhao looked at him coldly and snorted, you can do it, but from now on, Qin Jianmen must join the Tianhao League and act according to my rules. If you dare to bully the weak again, I will destroy you first. Yes, we will definitely hear you. Wang Changfeng was busy and full of gratitude. He was not as good as the one he used to be. In just a few months, the reputation of the Tianhao League has spread throughout the world, and countless martial arts people came to join this new force based on morality. Lin Tianhao sorted out his own self-created Tianhao's true spirit into a system's mental method, and chose potential disciples to teach them, so that the strength within the alliance could be rapidly improved. At the same time, he carried all the alliances to fight against the evil sects and help the suffering people. In the vast land, the atmosphere in the world began to change, and the spirit of morality was rekindled. Tianhao, you did it. The world of the world is completely different from before. Li Ruolin stood in front of the newly built meeting hall of Tianhao League, looking at the crowd who came to join him without any hesitation. This is the beginning. Lin Tianhao slapped his head, his eyes full of pride. He knew that without the evil sect boss like the Bloodsword ancestor, the world could finally catch its breath. And he also became a refusal tome that everyone admired. However, after working hard for several months, Lin Tianhao felt a little tired. That night, he pulled Rhodoland to a quiet lake in the mountains behind Tianhao League. The two of them sat shoulder to shoulder on the grass, watching the moonlight reflecting on the lake, and the atmosphere was peaceful and warm. "Roland, the things in the world are almost stable. I think, let's find a place to retreat." Lin Tianhao turned his head and looked at her, his voice was low and serious. "These years, the wind and rain have been through. I just want to spend some peaceful days with you, find a beautiful place with beautiful mountains and rivers, a few flowers, and a few chickens, and don't care about anything." "What's the matter?" Lin Roland was stunned for a moment and smiled immediately, her smile as gentle as the moonlight. "Okay, Tianhao, as long as you are with you, you can do anything." Lin Tianhao felt warm in his heart, held her hand, and the two smiled at each other, and everything was silent. A few days later, he handed over the affairs of the Tianhao League to several trusted vice leaders, took Roland to leave the world, and found a remote valley to live in. In the valley, there are birds and flowers, and next to the cabin is a clear stream, and life is simple and happy. Lin Tianhao occasionally practices boxing, teaches Roland a few new moves, and often accompanies her to play flowers and fish, and often laughs in the mountains. In the world, the Tianhao alliance became increasingly powerful under the leadership of the deputy leader, and Lin Tianhao's name became an unfair saying, and it was always engraved in the hearts of every martial arts man. "Roland, you said, my slap is worth it?" One evening, Lin Tianhao leaned against the door of the wooden house, watched Xiang go west, and asked with a smile. "Value. Tianhao, you are not only worth it, but also worth it." Xirolan leaned against his shoulder and replied lightly. Lin Tianhao grinned, feeling satisfied. He knew that this was the end he wanted. From waste to overlord, from reverse to legend, all the suffering has been endured, and now, only happiness remains.